Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. And welcome to Color Craze, which is a series I'm doing over with MK Gunn on her channel, Some Assemblage Required. Today we are using a sketch from Brooklyn Rough, and we are using this color palette that MK and I chose for Color Craze. So I started out with a piece of paper and my photos. I have two photos that are horizontal and two that are in vertical. And so I decided to put one of each on each side, and then that strip down the middle, I kind of played around with some papers there. You can see the papers to the left-hand side. I didn't like how it looked at all, and I was really struggling, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to see if there is a cut file that I can use that would take the place of that strip. So I found this floral cut file over at Creative Fabrica. I'll put a link down below for it in case you're interested in picking up that cut file. And I cut it out and decided to create an orange wash on this watercolor paper, and I'm going to back the flower with that orange washed paper. And then I went ahead and did the entire front because I wasn't sure how much of it was going to take. But on the back, I did a green wash to do the leaves. So that is pretty much all I am doing with this watercolor paper. The watercolor paper is from Prima. It's been in my stash for a long time. I don't even know if they still make it, but that is where that came from. And it's like I think a 9x12 or something like that, which I think is one of the A something sizes in a European size. So my apologies for not knowing the exact dimensions, but I am just going old school using, which I don't even know that it's old school, but I'm using my pencil to not really outline the flowers. I'm doing the inside of the flowers, so I don't know if you call it inlining. I don't know if that's a thing, but tracing the inside of the flowers and then cutting the flower petals slightly larger so that they fit right on top of the white paper border there. So I'm just using a little Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere it down. I did get a little bit smarter and I cut the entire flower for the rest of them. This first one is the only one I cut all of the petals independently. The rest of them I cut the entire flower and then I just cut the center out. And that works a lot better. It's a lot faster. Not that there's anything wrong with this method, but I'm always looking for shortcuts when it comes to this kind of stuff because it is a time-consuming process. So I find that it's nice to, when you can cut any of the process out, because you don't end up taking quite as much of your time. Okay, and then I think I cut this on the wrong side. I don't know what I was thinking, but I cut it on the wrong side. And so I'm just going to set that to the side. I will use it for one of the smaller leaves. And now I'm going to go ahead and recut it on the correct side. It is a process. And the last time I did this, I didn't show you on the video, but I used my Silhouette software and I created the inside pieces. So all I had to do was run them through my machine, and then I inked them up afterwards, and they all fit perfectly. But I didn't want to take the time to do that. And sometimes that's just a matter of whether I want to spend time on the computer or I want to actually have the tactile experience of cutting and gluing. I mean, you still get the gluing aspect either way, but it is a much more tactile experience to do it this way when you actually have to cut everything yourself. And so, you know, it just really depends on how I'm feeling that day. So I thought I would just mention that because there is no wrong or right way to do this. It's really a personal preference, and for many people, including myself, it could just depend on the day. So here's where I just got smart and I was like, I'm just going to cut the entire cut file or the entire flower out. And then what I did was I ended up cutting up into the center from one of those leaves because I know that the white line from the cut file is going to cover it. And then I just cut the very center of the flower out. I do mark it with a pencil As you can see, I'm going to do that right now. And then I just cut to the inside and I cut that one a little bit further out from a larger circle than what I actually drew so that it doesn't show. So that's an easier way to do it for this particular cut file. I did, so the cut file is really just that centerpiece, and then I created 3 extra flowers there by using some of the tools that come with the Silhouette software to create it, to modify the cut file. So it came with the 2 flowers, and it came with that extra batch of leaves, and those are supposed to go towards the bottom of the cut file there instead of the flower that I just tucked under. So yeah, if you are adept at working with your Silhouette software or Cricut software, I'm assuming it works in Cricut the same way or similarly. I don't have a Cricut, so I can't tell you the exact process, but you can modify these files. They come in SVG or JPEG or I believe PDF as well, or PNG, so you have options. And I'll put a link to it down below, for Creative Fabrica, in case you're interested in that. So I'm liking the way that that's looking. I'm adding this extra batch of flower or leaves that it came with, and then I found this sticker that says Pure Sunshine, I believe, and I'm going to put that right across the center there. Or actually it says Sweet Sunshine. I like that. This is not really summer. It's the photos were taken the end of March, and so I'm using this piece from Color Craze that says Together Again, and it's orange. I'm not going to remove the backing because if I remove the backing, it is even more transparent, and I want to keep it as orange as possible. And so I am just going to tuck it in right pretty much about where it's at. And then I pulled out these older stamp sets from some of Chamel's older lines. The one that I'm working with right there, I believe, is from Field Trip. And then this one is one of her really old lines. I don't know which one, but it is definitely a Chamel stamp set. And so I'm stamping those onto some white paper with my archival ink from Ranger. And then I'm going to go ahead and just fussy cut those out with my scissors and tuck those in to create my journaling spots. And I really like this one that has today and it has the date. I'm tucking that in so that you can still read that where it says the date. This little wooden board piece is mimics one of the papers in the Never Grow Up collection. I said Field Trip before, it's Never Grow Up. And the speech bubble. I'm not big on speech bubbles, so I'm definitely going to tuck that little speech bubble thing in. I just wanted a little journaling spot to go ahead and keep that information. Now I do realize that later on I'm going to stamp the date across that little wooden signboard, and there is a spot for the date up where it says today. So I am going to change that out. I'm going to just stamp another one and cut it and glue it right over the top, but you're not going to see that on the still photos. So the still photos is going to have that little piece of wood stamped with the date, but I am going to change that out. So I'm just fussy cutting these out. I am going to add a little bit of foam underneath that arrow and a little bit of foam underneath the little wooden plank, just to add a little bit more dimension, just like the piece that says Sweet Sunshine. And I like the way that that looks because I've already got some dimension on there with the Together Again, and so I want to keep things at a similar height. So I'm using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere the acrylic down. Oftentimes I will use like the mini Zots or the glue dots for bling to do that, but in this case I just used my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And the photos are of the little girl that I watch and Noah at this park in Monterey. It's called Dennis the Menace Park, and it's got an amazing playground, and they had such a blast there. So I wanted to document the day that they spent together and make sure that gets into the album. So it's got the both of them side by side on the slide, and then side by side in a little boat, and climbing on some of the structures there. So thanks so much for watching. I will have the link to the playlist for 30 days down below, so you can check out all of the videos that have been released so far. And I will have a link to MK's channel for you as well, so you can go and see what she has done for today's Color Craze layout. Thanks so much for watching. If you have questions or comments, as always, leave those down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and I will see you guys again in a couple of days. Bye-bye.